First thing we're going to do is we're going to hit Control O or Command O if you're on a Mac. We're going to find your background photo, which should be an actual photo. In this case, I have this one. This is a nice picture of a slate charcuterie board and some coasters. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to double click the lock icon, hit enter. Now we're going to come over here onto the Band-Aid tool. We're going to zoom in and we're just going to clean this up a little. Like that, we don't like. Now rename this layer background. Now you're going to hit T for the text tool. We're going to set our font. I'm using a font called Antrovectra. I'm just going to type in my last name. Going to expand it up, lock the aspect ratio, position it about like so. You just kind of play with it. I'm also going to change it to bolder. I'm also just going to change the color to white, although it doesn't really matter. Next, we're going to go ahead and import our animal picture. In this case, I have a PNG of a rooster that I bought off Etsy. Rotate it 90 degrees, position it right in here, lock the aspect ratio, click OK, and go in here, edit, transform, flip, see how it looks, and that doesn't work, so we're just going to undo it. And you really just want to play around with it until you find something that works. Go ahead and rename this something nicer, like a chicken. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the chicken layer, we're going to Command click. We're going to hide the chicken layer, select the background layer, Command J, and that'll create this layer here that actually saves the texture of the slate. We're going to name this layer Slate Chicken. We're going to go to Image, Adjustments, Brightness, Contrast. Bring the brightness up somewhere about in there. Take the contrast all the way down. Repeat it, do Image, Adjustments, Brightness, Contrast. Bring that contrast all the way down. Play with the brightness a little. You don't want to go too far. I'm going to play with that one more time. Take the contrast all the way down. Take the brightness down just a hair. And that's looking pretty good so far. We're going to do the same thing with the Cuthbertson text. We're going to Command click, hide the layer, select the background, Command J, Image, Adjustments, Brightness, Contrast. Brightness, bring it up, contrast all the way down. Bring the brightness up to about 112. And repeat. Now right in there. You can see that if you zoom in, it definitely looks off, but on Etsy, they won't really be able to zoom in that much. It'll look just as if you had actually engraved it. We're going to name that text layer Cuthbertson Slate. We're going to hit Command T. Rotate it a little, move it over, rotate it. Just kind of clean up the design. Take that chicken, we're going to see if we can expand him. We'll lock the aspect ratio, bring him up a little. Now we're going to create a new group. We're going to call it Coasters. We're going to create another new group called Chackboard. We're going to take Slate Chicken, Slate Cuthbertson, and Chicken. Put it all under Chackboard. Bring that in there. We're going to go and hide that layer. We're going to go into Coasters, hit T, and then just type in a big C. Hit OK. We're going to change the font to Georgia. Command T, lock aspect ratio, expand. Place the C roughly centered in the coaster. Hit OK. Hit T again. We're going to make another one. We're going to type in Cuthbertson. Hit OK. Change the font to Lobster. Drag it over. Now what we're going to do with the Cuthbertson text, we're going to go down here to the FX symbol. We're going to go to stroke. We're going to size it, and maybe about 6 pixels. Hit OK. Now we're going to lock aspect ratio. We're going to free transform again. Get it about right there and hit OK. We're going to select the Cuthbertson text layer here, hit Command J. That'll duplicate the layer. We're going to call this Cuthbertson stroke. We're going to right click this layer. We're going to rasterize layer style, so that when we Command click, it'll actually include the stroke. But first, we're going to go back to the C, Command click, select the C, do the same as we did with the main platter, Command J. We're going to call this Slate C. Make sure it's in our coasters group. Now we're going to take the Cuthbertson right here, Command click, hide it. We're going to go and hide that C as well. Then duplicate on the background. We'll call this Coaster Cuthbertson. If we hide that, we can see what's going on. Now, we can see the problem here, as this isn't actually what the engraving does. So we're going to go to Cuthbertson stroke, Command click, and then we're going to select Slate C, select our eraser tool, and just come through and erase right in here. If you had another letter like an M or an N, you'd have to erase over here as well, but since we just have a C, we only have to erase in this one area. Hit M and then click to deselect. So now that we have that, we can actually click Slate C and Coaster Cuthbertson. Right click, merge layers. Since we want both these to look the same as we change our properties, we're gonna go to Image, Adjustments, Brightness, Contrast. Brightness set about 95, contrast all the way down. Image adjustments, brightness, contrast all the way down. Brightness up a little. Image adjustments, brightness, contrast all the way down again. Brightness, about in there. Unhide the checkboard. We can see that it definitely needs a little bit of work on the brightness. We're going to select the slate chicken, go to Image, Adjustments, Brightness, Contrast. Bring that brightness up quite a bit, right there. Do the same for Cuthbertson Slate. Image, Adjustments, Brightness, Contrast. Bring brightness up, make it pop a little. And that's it. Now, before I started faking my listing photos, I engraved a lot of different things, so I had good reference images. Reference images are key here. Whatever reference images you have, adjust your brightness and contrast to make it look like those. This is just how my laser engraves on this slate. I've worked the image to match that. Whatever your laser does on your material, you need to change it as such. But other than that, it's that simple. Now instead of going through $10 worth of slate, just for a listing photo that you can't ever use, now you can just fake it all and have it look just like the finished product.